Hello. It's been a while since I posted a video. For that, I apologize. I give you the Hummer H3. This is the first video in a series where I rebuild about half of this car, mostly drivetrain. It's gonna come in several parts. There was lots and lots of footage that went into this. I didn't do any editing while I was filming the entire thing. And this is the first video in the series of this thing coming back together. It runs and drives now, believe it or not. And I took it apart and put it back together. Transmission out, transfer case out, engine, whole top end taken apart. And I did it all with hand tools in this spot in my driveway right here. This one was a lot of work and it was a huge reward when it was all done. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy it. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the Right Turn Randy YouTube channel. We have an issue with the old Hummer here. My daughter just got a license. She was driving this as her daily. I put a radiator in this thing a while ago, and the fittings that went on there had these O-rings that when you tightened them too tight they would smash and pop out and leak. So there was like a perfect, just barely sort of past finger tight, they would seal up. So I got them sealed up and they ran just fine.
Yeah, that one right there I'm worried about. This one over here I don't think so, it's gonna leak, but that one I was particularly worried about.
One of those fittings after like 2-3 years has backed off and it leaked all the transmission fluid out of the transmission. So she drove it home and told me that it was slipping, not doing too well. First gear, we've got second gear, but as soon as this thing pops into third, it does that. That means the transmission needs to come out, the transmission needs to be replaced. I'm not upset with my daughter at all. This is not her fault. I should have been paying more attention to it, but it gives me a chance to rebuild the transmission to better than it was. Until then, we can just keep it in second, because I mean, you know. Plan for the car is to get the transmission out, have it rebuilt with some upgrades, performance parts, get it shifting a little bit better, and then while it's out, I was gonna pull the motor and put a cam in it at least, and fix some of the oil leaks, put new seals and everything, and do some oil flow upgrades and stuff like that, basic stuff for LS. I've never worked on an LS motor before, so I figured this would be a good candidate for some of the simple stuff. And then we'll do some little minor things, like got some rust spots on the inside of the door. You can see that right there. Got some rust coming down, and then on the door handles. So we'll go through and we'll fix all the rust spots. I love this thing. Been driving it forever. Gets horrible gas mileage, but that's not why you drive one of these things. It's really comfortable and it's a great SUV, but it's time to get some real work done on it. So let's go. This thing's been worked on before me, and the dudes that worked on it absolutely dipped these bolts in red Loctite, and they have been super hard to get off, like not even funny. The nut that was inside the frame, the weld snapped off, and I thought it was an 18, just like these are, because these are 18. Which one's a hot one? That one's still good and hot from torching it, but these are 18 millimeter. Turns out this is 21 millimeter. So I was fighting with this thing for hours trying to get it, and it's 21 millimeter, and those are 18. That thing's done for. And these were the 2 bolts on this side and 2 bolts on the other that are right here on the subframe. You can see those 2 bolts there. So we did that one without any help at all, but this time we're gonna have help for this last one. So I gotta do my best to heat that nut that's up there in the frame, and then we'll get this subframe out. Every single mounting bolt on this cross member has red Loctite on it. Every single bolt. I cannot, I've had to put heat on everything. Every single bolt. And I'll tell you what, I'm starting to get irritated. Not a little irritated, like a lot irritated. I can't even find the bolt. I can't even see. Please don't drip into my face. So, no. Once they get hot, they start moving. But man, they really dipped them. They dipped every single fastener they could in red Loctite. It's not even a little bit. Like, I had the torch on this thing for I don't know how long. It's still hard to get off of here. Oh, that's never going back in there, by the way. It feels like. Oh. Oh, man. There she goes. Come on, baby. What a nightmare. Every one of these bolts in the cross member was dipped in red Loctite. You can see where the Loctite was flowing down because there was so much on there. You can see they dipped every fastener in it. On these, obviously, I had to put heat on the transmission mount bolts, like the nuts that go on the transmission mount. They Loctited the threads in the mount before they put the nuts on the transmission mount. It's completely unnecessary. But at least now that I've gotten, I think, most of the hard stuff out of the way. Okay, so all in all, this is what it took to get this thing out of there. I had the whole cross member that went down through here, and there were 2 bolts on this side, 2 bolts on the other side, and 1 bolt going straight through like that to hold everything together. As far as this goes, there's 5 bolts up there, and you can see them. I got the case separated pretty good from the transmission right now. You got to brace the transmission because the whole cross member has to come out of there, and you need to get that cross member out of there to be able to get to those 5 bolts that are holding the transmission to the transfer case. You don't want to take off the bolts that are going from the adapter right here. You don't want to take off the bolts going from the adapter to the transmission. You want to take off the bolts going from the adapter to the transfer case. So now to get this thing, I just gave this a couple good cracks with a dead blow hammer, and that unsealed it after I got almost all of the weight off of it, because if it's hanging, it's really hard to separate. But got the transmission held up there with a jack and a jack stand. And so now we're going to kick this thing free. Come on, buddy. Yeah. It's coming. Well, bad boy's out of there. That wasn't no joke. That wasn't no joke. It was lighter than I thought it would be, and then when I picked it up to carry it, it was heavier than I thought it would be. So that part's done. Next up's getting transmission out. So that's it for part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. In the next video, I'm gonna be taking the whole front end off of this thing, and the engine's gonna come up and out. Originally, I'd want to take the whole front clip off, but that's not what happens. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm sorry it's been so long since I uploaded. Start with a short one for you, and hope to see you guys back again. Thank you.